Ineffective listening is a challenge that we as a society face largely today. We aren't taught how to listen effectively in the right ways to be able to listen to people and to receive the message that they're conveying accurately. Through this, there's lots of misunderstandings and tensions and conflict that arise. And if we were, as a society or just as individuals, able to become better and more effective listeners, then we could reduce those conflicts and be able to not have as many misunderstandings. I have found a list of ineffective listening problems and why we have these problems. Here's the list I have. One ineffective listening problem we have is pseudo listening, which is just the act of listening. It's just going through the motions but not really listening or paying attention to what the speaker has to say. Stage hogging is the second one. This is where we don't listen properly to what the speaker is saying because we want to say what's on our mind. We want to say how we feel about the subject, and we always feel like what we have to say is more important. We want to one-up them. We feel that we need to get our 2 cents worth in. Selective listening is when we only listen to what we want to hear. We tune out what we don't want to hear. Like when you're listening on the radio, you only listen to the music, and as soon as the commercials come on, you usually tune out what they're saying. Insulated listening is the opposite of selective listening. It is when we avoid the specific information or we just don't respond to it. Defensive listening is when we take everything the speaker says, their comments, and we take them as personal attacks to us as individuals. Ambushing is when we listen to somebody and we collect everything they are saying and then we use it later on to attack them. An example was in courtrooms. They listen to what the defendant has to say or whoever has to say, and then they use that information to come back at them in a later time. Insensitive listening is not looking deeper into the conversation, not picking up on the nonverbal cues. We just read the superficial material or superficial cues that are given in a conversation. Reasons why we don't listen better and why we are ineffective listeners. I have a list of those here. One of these could be because of message overload. There's so much information given that we are selective listeners. We decide that we don't want to listen to what the speaker has to say. A lot of this times message overload happens in like classrooms. There's so much information given to us that we don't know how to effectively absorb it all. The second one is preoccupation. We're preoccupied with our own thoughts. We are constantly thinking and worrying about what we have to do, what we want to say. We're daydreaming, and etc. Things like that we aren't able to listen to what the speaker really is saying. Rapid thought is using the extra time that we have while the speaker's talking to formulate a rebuttal or to daydream or to think of things that we're worrying about. The fifth one I have on here is external noise. And we're not able to listen effectively if we have the TV on, if our cell phone's constantly ringing, if there's people running around, or if we're trying to listen to other people's conversations. So the sixth one is faulty assumptions. We don't always listen effectively because we feel like we already know what they're talking about. We already have a good understanding of the material that is being talked about. we make the assumption that we already know, so we just tune it out and don't listen. And the seventh is lack of training. We don't know how to listen effectively, so that is one reason we don't always listen effectively. The last one I have is hearing problems. Physical hearing problems, hearing loss, will cause it so we are not able to listen effectively to what the speaker is saying and what others are saying. I have come up with a list of ways that we can become a better listener, and through these ways we will be able to be more effective, and we'll be able to not only be a better speaker because we'll know what they want to say, but we'll just be able to absorb more information and be a better active listener. The first is to talk less. If we're always talking, then we're not going to be able to listen to what the speaker is saying or what the person we're talking to is saying. One way I found to be able to incorporate this in your life is I've heard of a lot of families have a talking stick, and they pass the talking stick around, and you can only talk if you have the stick in your hand. In this way, it allows for that person to talk without being interrupted. Get rid of distractions. Turn off your phone, turn the TV off, go into a quiet, secluded area. Will allow you to effectively listen and have like a one-on-one conversation with the person. Don't judge prematurely. If you're already judging what the person is saying, what the person's going to say before they even say it, then you aren't going to be able to listen very well to what they are saying. Be sensitive to the talker, picking up on those nonverbal cues, and having respect for what they are saying will help you be a better listener as well. And the last one I have is actively listening. This is not going through just the actions of listening, but actually paying attention and listening to what the speaker has to say. On active listening, at powertochange.com for students, it says, the technique for active listening is to know how to listen to someone else, think about how you would want to be listened to. So in order for you to listen to somebody else effectively, you should think about how you would want them to listen to you, and that will help for you to be a better listener, to understand that. These were some other points I found, a list of other ways and tips to be a better listener at thepowertochange.com for students. One is to face the speaker, 2 is to maintain eye contact, 3 is to minimize external distractions, the other is to respond appropriately, number 5 is to focus solely on what the speaker is saying, 6, minimize internal distractions, 7, keep an open mind, 8, avoid letting the speaker know how you would have handled the situation, 9, even if the speaker is launching a complaint against you, wait until they are finished to defend yourself and reply. And number 10 is to engage yourself in the conversation, to ask the right questions, to respond correctly, and to really be part of the conversation. Another at Sculpting a Clay, Reflections on Leadership and Transformation, Ricardo Aziz says, to ensure balanced listening, leaders should establish and manage both informal and formal approaches to listening. I believe that's not only important to leaders, but to just everyday people, individuals as well, because in order to effectively and actively listen, we need to have experience in both formal settings and informal settings so that we will know how to listen in all different types of scenarios. The Wright State University did research and studies to show what we receive from effectively listening, and they say, research has found that by listening effectively, you will get more information from people you manage, you will increase others' trust in you, you will reduce conflict, you will better understand how to motivate others, and you will inspire a higher level of commitment in the people you manage. This is just coming to show that from actively and effectively listening, you will gain trust from others, you will gain information, you will be able to motivate and inspire other people, and you'll be able to go back to what I was saying at thechange.com, that you will know how to effectively listen to other people. In conclusion, I found a quote or a table in the book, Looking Out, Looking In, that we use for the class that says, in comparison to speaking, reading, and writing, listening is learned first, used most, but taught least. This just comes to show that we all are taught how to write and read and speak in school, but we aren't taught effective listening. And I believe if we were to incorporate more listening techniques and classes into education, then more educated people would be better listeners, but then they would in turn be able to educate others on how to become more effective listeners. With the challenge of listening, just in order to be an effective listener, there are lots of ways to be able to do that if we just have the proper training, or if we just are considerate of what other people are saying. We will slowly learn how to be better listeners if we have a true desire to learn how to.